Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I have a little bit of different background, but I wanted to try out this Marc Accomplice concealer. I bought this a couple of weeks ago. As you can see, I haven't even opened this packaging, but I think this is very promising because a lot of people have really liked this, especially with dry skin. I have dry skin, so I was looking for something a little bit more hydrating to have under my eyes in the summer when I want to do kind of a more natural and just, you know, everyday makeup. So I was pretty excited about this. So yeah, I'm gonna be just telling you guys everything about this. We're gonna be doing a wear test for a couple of hours, and then we can see how this baby performs. Before we get into it, please don't forget to subscribe below, like this video, and let's just go ahead and get started. Like I said, this one is the Marc Accomplice concealer. It comes in this little packaging like this. Kind of reminds me of a little bullet, like a lipstick bullet. And then you open the cap like this. It's kind of like a little hard to open, not gonna lie. But then you have your little concealer right here, and you can kind of scroll this up. I'm going to do it all the way. Hopefully this won't break on me because I want to show you guys how much product this actually brings. But I think it's a really good amount of product that comes in there. I have to say I'm not the biggest fan of concealers kind of in a stick form. This probably will be my first one if I do like it, just keeping it, because the ones that I have tried are just too drying on my skin. I know a lot of people really like stick foundations and stick concealers for dry skin, but that just does not work for me whatsoever. I remember having the Hourglass that everybody seems to love, the Hourglass foundation, and I had to return it because it literally made my skin look so dry and just pasty and cakey. It would just like not stick to my skin well. So I don't know, we're gonna see how this works for me. I'm gonna give it a try, and yeah. This concealer retails for $32. It brings 0.17 ounces, and I got this one in the shade medium 33. It seems like a really good fit for me. I like my concealer to be either the same skin tone as my, my skin color, or just a little bit lighter. I'm not one of those people that goes way lighter with the concealer. I just can't really do that. This concealer claims to be long wearing, creamy. It's supposed to be a full coverage concealer, and it comes in 17 shades. Like I said, I chose the shade medium 33 and swatch it out for you guys because that is how it looks like. So it seems like it's going to be very close to my skin tone. For $32, I have to say it's a really expensive concealer in my opinion, but if you really think about it, it's not as expensive, when you compare it to a liquid one. This one is the Too Faced Born This Way, and this one is in the shade light beige, which is probably my favorite shade. And you can see that they're very, very similar in color. This one's a little bit lighter. I would say it's a little bit more neutral. This one seems to be a little bit peachy, if you ask me. But I think it's going to be a really, really good match, and it seems to be pretty full coverage, at least on my hand. I'm swatching it here, and it seems really like creamy, but yeah, it seems a bit creamy. I think that blended out pretty well. I hope that, it looks really nice under my eyes. I'm going to be priming just because I feel like concealers just do not look well on my skin when I don't prime. So I'm just going to be putting a little bit of this under my eyes. This one is a Tarte Timeless Smoothing Timeless Smoothing Primer. I literally apply this every day, and every time I go say the name of it, I always forget it. But this is my go-to for under my eyes. It just makes everything really smooth. So if this concealer does not work with this primer, I know it's a pass for me. I'm just going to be using this Becca palette as my mirror, and I'm kind of just going to be applying this under my eyes. I'm going to start pretty light, and hopefully, because I know stick concealer is going to apply too much, so I think I'm just going to start there. It says to apply this with a sponge or with your fingers, so I'm going to be doing kind of one side with the sponge and one side with my fingers, because I think that stick products just apply better with your fingers. I'm not a huge fan of that, but that is the truth. Alright, so I don't think we got pretty far with that. I think my under eyes are pretty dark, as you can see, so I definitely need a little bit more help. But let's just apply a little bit more before I say how I feel about it. I think it does go a long way, because I did apply kind of just a tiny bit of concealer in the beginning, and I think that it started to cover a lot, but I think shade wise is a perfect match. You can see there that it's not full coverage. I would say that's a medium. I've applied 2 layers of it, but I've gone pretty conservative with it. So I think I could keep applying just a tiny little bit like that. All right. I think that looks pretty nice, I would say. It definitely did not cover my whole under eye, but I think it did a pretty good job. I think if I were to color correct right here, you can see a little bit of darkness right there. As far as texture, I am showing, I'm gonna come a little closer because I know it's hard to see. I am showing kind of like my lines right there. You can see that when your skin is pretty dry, I feel like just stick products just don't make it look smooth as a liquid one would do. At least on my personal opinion. I know a lot of people really like it. I'm gonna be applying just a tiny bit on this side. I don't like that when you first apply it on your skin, it kind of creates that little circle, doesn't really put down any product. But then I'm gonna be going with my finger and kind of just blending this in. I know a lot of people are against, you know, blending things out with your fingers, but it does make it a lot faster, and I think it makes it a lot smoother. Obviously my hands are very clean, so I think that looks pretty good. Again, I am seeing those lines right there, which I don't really like. Going in with a little more. I just want to, you know, kind of even it out with the other side. I'm going to leave it. This is something that I definitely think you should set, just because it feels like, I don't know. I mean, it definitely set on my skin, but I just feel like it's going to crease a lot if I don't set it. It just gives me that type of feeling. I'm just going to come a little bit closer so you can see how it looks like. It's not like blowing me out of the water here. I think that I could do so much better with a liquid one. So I think what I'm going to be doing is just covering up a little bit of my pimples right here, maybe doing my eyebrows and putting on some mascara, because I don't, like I said, I don't want to do a full face of makeup today. So I think I'm going to be just using the same concealer because I think it's a pretty good match with my skin tone. You can see like all the little circles because it actually doesn't apply anything in the center. And I know I'm not going too heavy with it just because I don't really want to. Alright, so I know this is a little bit of a natural, like, kind of no makeup, but I really like it. And I do have to say, I don't think it's covering up a lot of my under eye circles. I think this is something good for somebody that doesn't have a lot of issues under their eyes. Because for me, I definitely need a lot more coverage than this, especially for the price of this. I think is $30 is a lot of money to just throw on a concealer. I also think that it's kind of emphasizing, I don't know if you can see right there, it's emphasizing not only like my fine lines, but it's also making me look a little aged. Like you can see kind of like a wrinkly right here, and it's making my skin look a lot drier than it actually is. And I don't know if I love that. I could have gone in with my concealer, but I just didn't want to, like, I don't know, overdo it, because I don't like feeling like I have a lot of makeup under my eyes. It doesn't feel like tacky whatsoever. As soon as you apply it, it kind of feels like it sets onto your skin, and it blends out really nicely with a sponge or of your I kind of like it with my fingers better because it was very easy to work with. It kind of like you know, moved in and settled where you want it to. That was pretty easy. I do feel like it was very creamy, but it was like too creamy for my liking. I think creamy concealers kind of tend to look worse on dry skin. That's why I prefer like liquid ones, because they kind of like, I don't know, smooth everything out, I would say. And I can't believe it's looking this like dry and wrinkly over my Tarte primer, because that usually is like a smoothing primer. It kind of covers up, you know, it fills in the gaps, and I don't think I don't know, I just think that it's looking pretty average, and for $32 I think it's a no-go for me. To the one that I swatched, this one is $32, brings 0.17 ounces, and this liquid one from Too Faced brings 0.50 ounces, and I think it retails for $29, something like that. So that is a big difference. This one is a full coverage one. It definitely goes a long way, and this one and the Jouer, I have to say, are my favorite ones, especially for people with dry skin. You would love this, but I don't know, I don't think this is like, just it's alright. If you don't have a lot of issues under your eyes, I would say definitely give this a go. I think it's pretty practical. I think the fact that it's so tiny and kind of doesn't take up a lot of space in your purse or your vanity, you can definitely just, you know, swipe this and just pop and you're done. But if you definitely need more help like I do, I don't think you would enjoy this. If you want to look for something that is definitely full coverage, I probably wouldn't go for this. The shade, it's really nice, and I think it doesn't, you know, it makes the skin look pretty natural, but under the eyes I just think that it just doesn't kill me, because everywhere else I think it looks pretty nice. Like I would probably keep this to just cover up those little tiny things that I have. If I were to apply foundation, I feel like that would probably help it a little more to be a little bit more full coverage, like if I were to apply this over my foundation. But I kind of like stick foundation or stick concealers for like everyday and natural, and I'm kind of going back to like wearing no foundation and just doing a more natural look on a day-to-day. So I definitely want to give this a try over foundation and see how that works. But yeah, I think that the shade range was pretty nice. I just think that for $32 I would expect a little more from this, especially like even if I have no makeup on. So those are my thoughts on this. I'm gonna wear it for a couple more hours, and then I'm gonna wear it one day over foundation and just see how it performs. But yeah. Alright, so I did want to do an update. I've had this on for probably 4 or 5 hours now, and I have to say I really hate it, especially for my dry skin, because you can see right there how it's looking pretty horrible. It also like transferred my mascara down, which is something that rarely happens to me. I don't know why that's happening. You can see all the dryness, especially on this area, and on the other parts of my face where I applied it and even set it with powder, it kind of disappeared. So I just don't think that this is a good concealer for dry skin. It's just not something that I enjoy. That's not to say that it's a bad concealer, because it was very creamy. So if that's what you're into, I feel like you're really gonna like that, but I just don't think that I can make this work for me. It was a really nice shade, which is a shame, because I can never find one that I can just put on, you know, for every day and kind of like with no makeup on that looks good. They're usually so super full coverage that it kind of like fades off on the rest of my face, and I end up with like a full face of concealer. But this one was just really nice. It kind of stayed on the places where you applied it, and I thought it was really easy to just use with your fingers and also with the sponge. So that part I really liked. But as far as how it performed, it's just I don't know. So I think I'm going to wrap up this video right here. Maybe I'll try it one more time over foundation and see if my thoughts change, but so far I think this is a pass for me. So thank you so much for watching this video. As always, don't forget to subscribe below, and I'll see you on my next one. Bye!